Hello and welcome to India Revival Mission, a show on which we've debated, deliberated and ideated that what can be done to bring India back on the growth path. It's a pandemic time and India surely has emerged as a survivor. But from survival also comes revival, and from revival comes flourish. So what is the way forward for India in this decade, now that we have been a survivor of this pandemic crisis? To discuss all that and much more, it gives me great pleasure to bring on board Mr. Dinesh Khara, Chairman of SBI, to talk about his view on the economy. I'm first time meeting you in person ever since you've taken over as Chairman of SBI. So once again, a very formal congratulations.
Thank you very much, Nikunj. Thank you.
What is your view on the economy, sir? Things are indeed looking up now.
Yeah, I fully agree with you. I think the kind of things which have happened, I would say right from the day of the pandemic, because the way RBI came in and ensured that there should be enough liquidity all around, that I think was a major game changer, and that gave a whole lot of confidence in the financial sector entities. And also the next step was to ensure that NBFCs should not get into some kind of a liquidity crunch. So that is the next step which ensured there should be enough liquidity in the system. I would also say that the initiatives taken by government to ensure that enough cash is left in the hands of those who really need it. And I think that was another very major step which took place. I think all said and done, the first quarter we had seen a situation where hardly any economic activity was there. But nevertheless, still we had seen that some of the core sectors had started responding well. It was actually, I would say, like iron and steel. For about a month or so, they had to readjust themselves, recalibrate their production systems. But yes, I think in the first quarter, towards the end of the first quarter, they had started coming back. I would say from second quarter onwards, we started seeing the unlock happening. And even in the first quarter, when there was a lockdown in majority of the towns in the country, the rural economy was thriving. So I think that is something which was a very major plus. From second quarter onwards, wherever unlock was happening, we have seen that there was a definite revival of economic activity. Third quarter, I would say that it was a situation where there was a confidence coming back. Also, the news about the vaccine towards the very beginning of this calendar year, and the vaccination process having started on 16th of January, that actually went a long way in terms of rebuilding the confidence. And I have seen that, with every unlock happening, with any such positive news coming in, the economic activity is back. So today, if you really ask me, some of the sectors like auto, iron and steel, auto ancillaries, all the OEMs which are there, similarly some of the cotton exports which are happening from the country, they're all thriving. Now on the top of it, in the recent budget, the announcement which have been made to give a push to the infrastructure sector, it will certainly give a further boost to sectors like steel, cement. So these are the core industries, and core industries, when they get into the growth path, so naturally the whole economy moves on to the growth path. It is expected that the GDP growth in the year 21-22 would be somewhere around 11%. I would say that normally we have seen that the credit growth in the system is slightly better than the credit growth in the growth in the GDP. So normally we take a multiplier factor of 1.1. So with that kind of a situation, for 11% GDP growth, I expect the credit growth to be somewhere around 12 to 13%. While I am talking about all this, I would also mention that right from the beginning, we as a State Bank of India, we have seen that our retail asset book continued to grow at a very healthy pace. One, it has grown at a healthy pace, and the other part is, I would also like to mention that the quality has been very good. So I think these are some of the factors which gives me actually a very happy feeling about the economy and as well as for the bank.
But things indeed for SBI are looking up, and I'd like to bring this point for our viewers, which is that State Bank of India is the only large bank which has not raised capital. State Bank of India is the only large bank where the moratorium numbers are surprisingly much better than what even private banks have reported. What helped you?
We did raise some of the tier 2 bonds. Not that we have not raised any
Tier
equity.
2 is work in
Tier 2
progress.
is, but at the same time, I must mention that one we raised Tier 2 bond, the other we raised Tier 1 bond also. But for both the issuances which we did, we could actually create a benchmark, and even we raised some MTN also, which was actually at the pricing, which was much lower than what any Indian corporate had raised in the recent past. So I would say that that way we have demonstrated to the world at large that global economies also have got a confidence in India. That is one very important part. The second part is that for the right kind of a risk, people have enough appetite for investing. So that's what has happened. Now coming to the next, your other question relating to quality. See, we have been for last couple of years maintaining the balance sheet strength has been our major focus, and that is the reason why when it comes to our corporate book, legacy book, we have provided almost as high as about 89%. And so that way I would say that, and also if you really look at it in terms of the resolution percentage, which happens through various channels, which will be through one-time settlement, which would be through the NCLT, which will also be through the court processes. So on and average, the realization, you leave aside a couple of, few outliers where we had actually realized almost about 90-95%. So if we leave aside those outliers also, on and average, our recovery percentage is somewhere in the range of about 20-25%. So if you go by that, we having provided almost about 89% of our book, corporate book. So which means that we have actually factored in the potential shocks also as far as the asset book is concerned. And that I think is one of the major reasons why we are in a position to showcase much better quality. Apart from that, the underwriting practices we have improved quite significantly. We brought in place another intermediary layer known as credit review department. From the point of view of the corporate book, it has gone a long way in terms of improving our asset quality. This initiative we took about 3 years back, so that has actually started paying off very well. The other aspect is about the collection effort on the ground, so that has also been supplemented very well, and these are in fact the combined effect of all this is actually seen in our book.
The challenge for SBI is that one side you have to take care of all the social obligations. Ultimately, State Bank of India is country's bank. Then on the other side are shareholders. What is good for social obligation is not good for shareholders. How would you manage it?
I don't think so. I would not subscribe to this thought that what is good for the social obligation is not good for the shareholders. I would say that eventually I believe in coexistence of all the subsegments of the society. And if at all we are giving something for the social obligations, even there I would like to mention that we have come across situations where when we have lent money for supporting the social obligations, it has actually gone a long way in terms of supporting the economy. For instance, when we started our Jan Dhan account, it was a zero balance account. Any bank would have seen, if at all they had a near-term perspective only, they would have seen it more of a liability as an expense. But as far as we are concerned, we went ahead and opened all those accounts, and today the average balance in each of these accounts is not less than 2,000 rupees.
Savings and other things have increased.
Savings. So which means that we have been in a position to channelize the savings of the largest subsegment of the economy, and you would probably agree that it will go a long way. It will go a long way in terms of formalizing this economy. So I think, and once the formalization happens, it is for the good of the banking system. So I think we have to look at it in these terms. And similarly, when we are supporting people for setting up their ventures through various activities, which could be even mudra loans, etc. Also, I would like to mention that it is actually generating employment on ground. As far as the quality of these advances are concerned, it's a journey. We have to guide them. That is the kind of a job which we are performing. We have created financial literacy centers all across the country. The idea is to really educate people about the benefit of borrowing and repaying on time. So I think it's an investment for building up this economy, And I feel that the more we invest, the more we will reap the fruit going forward.
How did you convince your employees to stay motivated during pandemic? The ATMs never dried up, the bank accounts were always working, people's money was safe, and we are looking at an army of about 200,000 people. My compliments to the kind of service and what State Bank of India has done to help Indians to fulfill the banking needs. But how do you keep them motivating?
See, one, of course, in this fight against COVID, all of us were together. It is not merely we have always communicated with them. We have conveyed to them that we are equally concerned, and also we ensured that they follow the protocol right from day one. So, depending upon the local administration guidelines in terms of how many people can come and attend the offices, we ensured that we are fully compliant with the local administration. But we always ensured that our people should follow all the protocols required for maintaining safe distance, and whatever was actually required to enable them to perform in such situations, we made them available. That is one. Secondly, a constant communication by our leadership with them, and also very proactive steps taken in terms of ensuring that anybody who suffered from the COVID, we ensured that he or she is extended the treatment in no time. And that way, I would really thank we have health workers in our system also. They have actually proved their worth quite a lot during this period. They have ensured not a single guy should go unattended. So I think that way it went a long way. We at the corporate center were very closely monitoring what is the kind of a situation all across the country, and wherever required, we guided them also on ground. And I would say that partly it was the precautions taken by our people, partly management and our employees being cognizant of the fact that we have to render uninterrupted services and we have to ensure that the wheel of economy keeps moving. So that is something, and also it was a national cause. So I think we could arouse that national cause and we could actually demonstrate, yes, we are very much part of this fight against COVID, and we will see to it that economy should not suffer.
Did you get a smile on your face when you saw the State Bank of India stock going up 15% after the numbers?
Of course, I would say it was a big moral booster, and it so happened on that day I was meeting the leadership of all the circles, and I could see the enthusiasm in their mind, and perhaps they all acknowledged the fact that for the first time the intrinsic value of the State Bank of India was being acknowledged by the market. I would say that it was just a beginning.
I'm using a tagline saying elephants can also dance. Is State Bank of India ready to dance now?
I think I would say that we have gathered the required muscles for any elephant to dance. So I think for dancing, the function of the muscle has to be very strong. So that is something which we are focusing on for quite some time. And now I think we are in a position to dance.
Okay, so let's define what is in front of you. Muscle is CASA, which you already have. Clear path is the economy. Let's put two together. Are you on the brink of a new credit cycle?
Yes, I would actually say that we have actually thought in terms of how should we really move forward. As I mentioned that the retail engine is doing pretty well, so we will continue to consolidate on that. When it comes to the corporate, I would say that SME and the large corporate would be the two. Capacity utilization as of now is about 55% in the economy. So we have generally when I slice my book, when it comes to the corporate advances, it would be about 70% would be about term loan and 30% would be on account of the working capital. So normally what we have seen is that the capacity utilization and the working capital goes in sync immediately. So I would say that as the capacity utilization improves, the working capital availment will start improving. Actually, as of now, the working capital availment was not very high, so that will be addressed. Secondly, when the capacity utilization moves towards say 70-75%, people start looking in terms of creating new capacity, and that's a point of time when we start seeing many new investment proposals. Not that we don't have, we have got a very excellent pipeline even today when it comes to infrastructure, when it comes to road sector. But I would say that this pipeline will actually grow, and that will be something which will actually show up in our credit growth numbers also. And also what we have also seen is that when it comes to small ticket loan, I would say the co-lending is perhaps the way forward, and that is how we would like to support our smaller SMEs. So that is something which we have in mind. So I would say that we have invested well in terms of creating our capability in terms of addressing the need of the economy, and we are actually very eagerly waiting for the moments when we can start lending in a very big way.
Is your endeavor consciously trying to be number one in all the subsidiaries also, with the exception of life, because that's where LIC is there, but do you consciously want to be number one in all the other businesses?
I would put it like this: we would like to have our natural market share, and if you really look at it, for all the financial sector activities, what matters most is the distribution. We in State Bank of India have a largest distribution network of more than 22,000 branches. Various subsegments of the financial sector, for instance, insurance, both life and non-life, generally have a preponderance of the agency channel. Our companies also have those channels. Not that those channels are not available to them. They have got an additional advantage of the bank assurance. Similarly, in the investments, when it comes to asset management company, we have all the channels. We are into bank, we are into IFA, we are into national distributor, and we are into the corporate distributions also. So we are ensuring that all our companies should have equally vibrant other channels, and in addition to that they should have very active bank assurance channel. So with that kind of a second engine working for all of them, it's my natural ambition that we should be all number one.
The press conference couple of weeks ago, you took a lot of pride in sharing the numbers, and you've given a very strong forward-looking guidance where you want your home loan book to move. But the home loan market is a very competitive market. You're growing a market where competition is large and technology is at play. Why are you so keen to grow that business?
See, the point is, when it comes to a portfolio, in the portfolio you will have various subcomponents. So I feel that home loan is one such activity which actually encourages the core sector quite a lot. Unless and until home loan grows, the core sector growth can get stagnated. So, and being the largest player and having the largest reach, we are trying to see that how we can improve the efficiency in operation. Efficiency in operation will help us in cutting our cost. Our credit cost is already quite low as far as home loans are concerned. So if at all operating costs also comes down, and with the kind of CASA which I have, I would be rather the market leader in terms of pricing also. That is what my ambition is, and I would actually like to price home loan at a right price point, so that very large population of the country still has got an aspiration to have one own home. So, and moreover, you know, what is happening is the new generation, the younger generation, they are aspiring for a home at a much early stage than what perhaps my generation and your generation aspired for at the stage. So at that stage, when they are trying to acquire homes, so they would need leverage. And I think our transparency which is there in the pricing, we would be in a position to encourage such people to come forward and acquire homes, and we would be in a position to meet or help them in accomplishing their dreams.
Couple of last follow-up questions, and I'm trying to get a headline from India's biggest banker, which is that, do you think home loan rates in India have bottomed out and fixed deposit rates in India have also bottomed out?
See, when it comes to the liabilities, that is the rates are also a function of the inflation. More so in an economy like ours, where a very large population does not have the benefit of any kind of a social security. So for them, the interest earned on the fixed deposit of the bank, or for that matter the postal deposit, is actually the main source of earning on an ongoing basis. So I think there we have to keep in mind the interest of very large segment of depositors also in mind. But at the same time, it's a very fine balance which you have to maintain always. Where ours is an economy which is a growing economy. We have to ensure that the interest rate for the lending also should not go up significantly. So that is something which keeps on busy, keeps all of us busy, and in ensuring that the fine balance is always maintained. So I would expect that if at all going forward, the kind of borrowings which have been envisaged by the in this budget, of course RBI is very cognizant and is very focused and conscious in terms of ensuring the yields. So I think keeping that in mind, even RBI is also trying to maintain a balance, a very fair balance, so that the economy, I think for the growth, these are the essential imperatives which all of us are trying to address. If we look at all these factors, perhaps I would say that the interest rates on deposits and maybe home loan for some more time to come, we should be in a position to maintain at this rate. But yes, of course, as far as deposit rates are concerned, I would say that it seems to have bottomed out.
One fault line, and which is a legacy problem for SBI, is the cost to income ratio. It's a challenge which you've inherited.
Yes.
How would you address that challenge?
I fully acknowledge that this is a major challenge, and I would like to also mention that there are certain rigidities in the cost structure of the bank. I would rather like to focus more on the income stream, and which I mentioned to you that we have got about 23,000 odd branches. 23,000 odd branches. We have actually started investing quite a lot in terms of the BC and CSP channel also. Today we have got about 79,000 odd CSP channels, CSPs who are on the ground. So one, of course, we will try to keep cost wherever possible in check, and secondly, would like to significantly improve the income stream from each of these branches. And when I talk about the income stream, I have actually given a call to all my top leadership team to identify opportunities through which they will generate more and more income. It can be locker income, it can be cross-sell income, it can be any fee-based income. So for each of the branch, there will be a focus for generating,
of course,
income.
Be part of somebody's life more. Be more connected with your customer.
Absolutely. So that is something, to my mind, once we crack this, I think cost to income ratio should not be a challenge for us.
Let me use the word yes bank and stop. I'll let you react.
Yes bank, when we went into, the market reacted quite negatively for our stock. But when we look back, I think it was a major step in ensuring the financial stability in this economy. And if we start evaluating that decision, the way the bank is coming back on track, I would say that it was the right decision at the right time.
But it will remain an investment. Whenever time comes, you would like to monetize it. Yes. But that time is not right now.
As of now, it is not.
2-3 years?
I think the time will tell how the market will be at that material point of time. But nevertheless, I always believe that the price is a reflection of the intrinsic value also. So once the bank would be on the right track, I'm sure market will certainly reward him.
I've had the pleasure of interacting with some of your predecessors, Mr. Bhatt, Ms. Bhattacharya, Mr. Kumar, just before you. Every chairman has had a legacy and impact on the SBI functioning. What is going to be your priority as the chairman of SBI? When we will look back after 5 years and talk about your period at SBI, how do you want the world to be remembered as your legacy? We're talking about your legacy when the term has just started, but I'm trying to understand your vision.
I think legacy is a derivative of what a particular leader does. So I think from that point of view, I would say that I have got a very sharp focus on ensuring that the efficiency of operations are excellent. So I'm sure it should get reflected in the numbers in due course.
How has life changed for you in the last 4 months, 5 months? Anything in morning routine, anything which keeps you wake up at night?
No, see, the point is, I think discipline is something very integral to the functioning of any CEO. That continues to be my area of focus also. But I have earmarked some time for myself, and I normally try to stick to that. But yes, of course, if it involves traveling, etc., then I have to compromise. So I think to that extent, there's a slight, I would say that there's a slight change in my disciplined behavior or the schedule. But Yes, apart from that, I think many of the priorities for the bank that keeps on engaging my mind, and yes, of course, every new day is a new day for me.
What is the lighter side of Dinesh Khara which nobody knows?
I will have to think more about it.
Well, really
I don't know if at all I have any lighter side.
Well, really appreciate your time. Good luck and thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate you having come over here, and thank you very much.
Thank you very much.